Paradox Pokémon are still a mystery, but there's one thing that we know for an absolute fact. We haven't seen all of them yet. That's because they wouldn't give us Walking Wake, Raging Bolt, Iron Leaves and Iron Crown and not give us the ENTEI and terrakion versions. Today we're not gonna look at Paradox Terrakion since, well, that's gonna be a robot thing and nothing else, but we're going to look at the other one. So hey, I'm not so a strainer, and what about Paradox ENTEI? Let's get into it. After the reveal of Raging Bolt, the long-necked abomination that I love with all my heart, two things became confirmed. There will be an ENTEI version, like I said, and they all seem to be related to dinosaurs or lizards, and through that we might be able to actually decipher what ENTEI will end up looking like. When I first looked at Walking Wake, I instantly loved that Pokemon. It became one of my favorites not only from Scarlet and Violet, but also from the whole franchise. And just like I love Long-Neck Boy, Raging Bolt, I know I will feel the same about Paradox ENTEI. And while it hasn't been revealed, these two Pokemon that have been revealed might have some clues for us. Raging Bolt seems to be based not only on Raikou, the Gen 2 legendary beast, and possibly a little bit on the Camelopard or what the Romans thought when they first saw a giraffe, but also on dinosaurs, of course. More specifically, Raging Bolt takes its inspiration from the Brontosaurus, the long-necked dinosaur we all know. Interestingly enough, this dinosaur's name means Thunder Lizard, being a very literal reference to what this Paradox Pokemon actually is. But that's not all there is to it. It looks like a cloud with an actual bolt shooting out of it. A Raging Bolt, if you will. This goes with many Pokédex entries that talk about how Raikou fell with lightning, almost as if the original Pokémon was an actual Raging Bolt as well. Walking Wake literally means a movement of water created by a moving object. And we do know one thing about Suicune, it likes to run on water. This ancient paradox takes inspiration from the basilisk, also known as the Jesus lizard, animals that can run on water as they can on land. So, once again, while there is no Thunder Lizard real-world name like there is for Raging Bolt, we have a reinterpretation of Suicune's Pokédex entries and lore. A Pokémon that races across the land and that, through what we saw and used and told us, races across the water as well. So, what we can take from this is that Paradox ENTEI will likely also be somewhat of a new interpretation of ENTEI's Pokédex entries. And if there's one thing that ENTEI's Pokédex entries talk about, those are volcanoes. ENTEI, depending on what game's Pokédex you check, either makes volcanoes erupt when it barks, which is pretty cool, or is born whenever a volcano erupts, or born in the eruption itself. So, we got to look at what exists and see if we can match it to something. Volcanodon is another big-necked dinosaur whose name means volcano tooth. While this would make a great pairing considering what we just talked about, I don't think we're gonna get two big-necked dinosaurs. Raging Bolt will likely be the only one with that trait. So we carry on. Another trait of ENTEI is its fire type, which would lead us into the Pyroraptor, meaning fire thief, and gaining its name from being discovered after a forest fire. While this would be a fun design for Paradox ENTEI, having the largest of the legendary beasts become the smallest of its Paradox variants, I believe this won't be the case, and I'll tell you why. Still, both the Volcanodon and the Pyroraptor are possible variants. The reason why I don't think we'll see those two things is because there's another part of ENTEI's Pokédex entries that go very well with a very famous creature, and that is that it races headlong across the land. Racing headlong means that it races in a reckless way, but it could also mean that it rushes head first as it runs. And, of course, that brings to mind a particular dinosaur. While the most scientific example of using your head for fighting comes from the Pachycephalosaurus, which you might recognize as Rampardo's inspiration, one of the most famous skulls out of any dinosaur is that of the Triceratops. It is a bulky dinosaur with a skull capable of sustaining Paradox ENTEI's likely reckless behavior. Its red faceplate and even the smoke-like fur could be shaped into a Triceratops head frill, and its yellow crown would be made into the three horns a dinosaur had. Oh, and it also could run decently fast. And of course, while this would be the inspiration I would bet on for Paradox ENTEI, we're missing a name. In my opinion, I would go with one of the next three, all starting with Reckless. Reckless Roar, Reckless Flare, or Reckless Burst. I wouldn't mind swapping Reckless for Roaring, but it has already been taken by Roaring Moon. I will likely be wrong on a lot of things regarding this Pokemon, especially when the Paradox forms, for the most part, are surprising and exclusive versions of the Pokemon they seem to represent. But one thing we know for a fact, that Pokemon is 100% part of the Indigo Disc DLC, just like Paradox Terrakion will be, and it raises the question, Are these something that exists as well? But that is all I have for you today, my take on what Paradox ENTEI will likely look like as well as a possible name. But what about you? How do you think this Pokemon will look like? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, before I go, let me thank my Twitch viewer Dr. Kaz Nabler for claiming the shoutout for this video. Thank you so much for all of your support. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. You can follow me on social media and Twitch. I stream there Wednesday to Sunday, not Saturday, or join our Discord. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.